Hello, my name is Eric DeCourcy, and for my choice book, I read Death of a Salesman by Arthur Miller. This play, which was transformed into a book, was first performed in 1949 as the nation turned the corner into the 50s. With the economy beginning to boom, it made way for the working world to flourish. Willie, a salesman in New York City, has two sons named Biff and Happy, and a wife named Linda. Willie has great concern for his son Biff, who struggles with finding a steady job. Biff was the wonder child of the family in high school, for he was a star football player. However, now that he has grown up, Willie is not so proud of him. Along with this concern, Willie additionally must worry about his status at his job, for he is demoted to a lower income and struggles to support his family. Willie had also gotten into many car accidents as of late, which Biff and Happy thought were because of his decrease in vision, his stress, or other non-serious factors. However, their mother, Linda, revealed that these accidents were actually suicide attempts, which was a significant turning point in the book. Eventually, Willie succeeds in committing suicide. He does this for many reasons, such as his withered relationship with his son and the insurance money it would provide for his family. At the funeral, the last scene of the play, there were mixed emotions, but there is an overall confusion of why and how Willie could do such a thing. One of the more prominent themes in Death of a Salesman is the American dream. There were two scenes in particular that captured this theme very well. One includes a scene which begins with Willie talking about Ben, his deceased brother, who is a symbol of what it meant to work hard and succeed for Willie. Willie strives to follow in his path of hard work and success and wants the same for Biff and Happy. Willie says, "The man knew what he wanted and went out and got it. Walked into the jungle and comes out at the age of 21 and he's rich." When Willie says he went out and got it, walked into a jungle, comes out, and he's rich, he conveys a few things about his brother. This includes his brother's ambitious work ethic and his rugged individualism. An ambitious work ethic is required to follow the path of the American dream, and Ben clearly exhibits this trait in Willie's memory, for he travels to an unknown land with a goal in mind and does not stop working until he succeeds said goal. In addition, rugged individualism is reflected in Ben's endeavor for similar reasons. Rugged individualism, a term coined by American President Herbert Hoover during the Great Depression, not long before the 1940s and 50s, embodies the American dream because of its down and dirty and hard-working nature. For these reasons, Willie's brother truly reflected what it meant to achieve the American dream. Another example of the American dream being reflected in Death of a Salesman is when Biff and Happy form a plan revolving around a westward venture in which they would create their own business. Biff had been having trouble finding and maintaining a consistent job, so this idea to travel out west and start a new business was a very ambitious one. In an exchange between the two, Biff says, "Sure, maybe we could buy a ranch, raise cattle, use our muscles. Men built like we are should be working out in the open." To which Happy replies, "The Lehman Brothers, eh?" Following World War II, in the late 1940s and early 1950s, the economy began to improve, which made it a popular dream to create your own business. This is also a commonly named principle of the American dream. In fact, military veteran L. Wayne Smalls, who created L. Wayne Smalls and Associates, a leadership training company, recently said, "I don't believe I truly started living the American dream until I decided to start my own business." This supports the idea that Biff and Happy are following the path of the American dream in taking steps toward making their own business. Like many Americans at the time, this was an ambition the boys had, and they were ready to take on the challenge. Difficulty of relationships in a family is another major theme that plays a significant part in Death of a Salesman. In a flashback to his childhood, Biff is speaking to his father, Willie, alongside his brother, Happy. Willie had just gotten back from a business trip in which he went to many famous cities throughout the Northeast, such as Boston and Providence. The boys are hooked as Willie tells them about his experiences, and Biff also speaks about what he had been doing lately. He tells Willie about his recent successes in football and his growing relationship with his coach. After Biff tells Willie his plans for the next game, Willie remarks, "Oh, wait till I tell this in Boston." This seemingly insignificant quote at the time turns out to be very showing of the downward trend in Biff and Willie's relationship. When Willie shows excitement about Biff's success and eagerness to share this information with others, he displays his pride for Biff's achievements. During this time in their lives, Willie showing this pride is typical and not surprising. However, towards the end of the book, this would have been quite a rarity. In fact, their relationship had diminished so much by this point to where Willie says to Biff, during an argument about Biff's current and past failures, "You're no good. You're no good for anything." A relationship that was seemingly perfect between Biff and his father in the early stages of Biff's life would not be expected to take such a turn. However, the difficulty of relationships in a family cannot be underestimated. Willie simply wanted the best for Biff. However, when Biff was no longer performing to the level he was expected to, Willie showcased his disappointment without holding back. As Willie was becoming less able to perform well at his job, he looked to his legacy as his last resort, which were his sons. Biff's inability to satisfy Willie was undoubtedly a contributing factor to his suicide for these reasons. To conclude, Death of a Salesman showcases the American dream at its peak, as well as how difficult it can be to maintain a positive relationship with family members. With seemingly everything declining in Willie's life before his suicide, his poor relationship with Biff, caused by Biff's lack of success, certainly contributed to him taking his own life. Though this is an unjustifiable decision to make, the roadblocks that Willie ran into with Biff were a lot to handle, and his frustration was understandable. Biff and Happy's aspirations to move out west and create their own business introduced the theme of the American dream to Death of a Salesman. However, it can be seen in many other cases, for example, with Willie's brother. In all, the themes in Death of a Salesman do an exceptional job representing the time period of the late 1940s turning the corner into the 1950s in America, and the play is very clearly a product of its time.